known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers' best bet or daily package for only $2.
And we are off and running. Welcome in here. It is January the 19th. I believe that makes it a Tuesday. That is right, Tuesday, January 19th is another edition of the College Basketball Tip-Off Show. Welcome in. Thanks for making us a part of your day. Let's take a look at the games we're going to be breaking down for you here over the next 28 and a half minutes. We're going to have Alabama, LSU, SEC matchup. We're going to talk about the Big Ten there. Purdue taking on Ohio State. And then we're going to go little ACC in that situation. We're going to do a little Duke versus Pittsburgh. And how about the Big East? How about Seton Hall taking on Villanova, plus our best bets, plus our friends at the Gold Sheet drop by with a best bet of their own. So we are loaded today on the show. Let's bring in the fellas. What a panel. My word. It does not get any better than that, including my neighbor to my left. Yes, left. This guy over here. Hasn't lost a game since 1986. He was telling us here it's been a hell of a run for him. Tony Mejia joining us here. Also has a great HOA. We'll talk about that later. Rob Vino making a return appearance here on the show. Robbie, always a pleasure seeing you. And then, of course, the guy downstairs always complaining that I play the TV too loud. That's Ralph Michaels joining us. And, Tony, let me start with you, my friend. Actually, let's take a look at the Twitter handles real quick, guys. So you know how to follow these guys and make sure that you are tailing them. Always great information from all three of these guys on their Twitter handles. Make sure you follow them at Mejia Dinero, at Cal Sports LV, at Rob Vino Sports. Make sure you check it out. No blue check marks here, just nothing but straight up honest betting advice on their Twitter handles. Tony Mejia, talk to me, brother. It's been a hell of a run for you. You're all over. I mean, you're profitable every which way we turn. Since we last spoke to you, how's college hoops been to you, and what do you got going on today at Wager Talk?
Well, Joe, college hoops has been fantastic up until yesterday when my totals were just short either of going over or just went over with some bad luck late. So that was disappointing, but we'll look to get back on track. Still a good run over the last 6 days. Yesterday was my first losing day in college basketball over that span. And thank goodness I was not on Baylor, Kansas, because I was on their total. And at the 5-minute mark, I was feeling decent. I said, if Baylor can get some stops and we get some missed free throws, we're looking good under 140.5. And obviously, Kansas had other ideas. They hit way too many threes. Baylor was way too proficient at the free throw line. And then at the very end, he had the banked-in three-pointer destroy Baylor minus 8.5. And had I been on that, I probably wouldn't be on the show today. I'd still be in mourning. So any of you guys or any of people watching out there, my thoughts and prayers are with you if you took that bad beat.
It's exactly why we don't have Dave Koken today. More about that in just a minute. Do want to let you guys know, too, his totals run. Tony Mejia been absolutely phenomenal here in college basketball. 23-13 run right now in totals on college hoops. He is on fire. So is the gentleman below him. Rob Vino, my friend, straight off of the NBA Tip-Off Show, joining us here in college hoops. Rob, how's it been, man, in college basketball for you, and what do you got going on today?
Yeah, college basketball has been limited so far this year, Joe, as far as plays are concerned. I didn't really kick in until about a couple of weeks ago. Slightly profitable so far on the year, so looking to improve that. Last night, no college hoops for me. It was all NBA, but still a real good night, 3-1 NBA night. So we do have a college hoop play up right now, a 4% best bet in what I would call evening action, since we see these earlier in the nighttime starts here on the East Coast. But we do have a 4% best bet up right now, up and available at WagerTalk.com.
Good stuff there, Robbie. And also the man below me here, Ralph Michaels. So, Ralph, have you checked in with Koken? Because I know he was all about Baylor on the show yesterday, and there was kind of like a Twitter blackout from Koken last night. So I just want to make sure. Is he okay? Because that three hitting wasn't just Tony, Ralph. It was a rough night for Baylor backers last night.
That wasn't Twitter blackout. That was Twitter banishing him for the words he used after that. He was freaking tweeting. It just didn't come through. I got a question. Tony and Joe, I hate to ask you this, but do you guys each have $1? I figure if you give Rob $1 and Tony, you give Rob $1 and I give Rob $1, maybe he can buy a light bulb. Jesus, he looks like he's in the fog in there. I can't swim through. All right.
Yeah, what is
all
up
serious
with your lighting, Vino?
Jesus. All kidding aside, though, 11-1-1 basketball run, 14-3 run, all sports, 4% higher. I do have a 5% today, and we don't use game of the year categories, but I'll tell you what, this game rode as easy as I've ever written a game. I have a 4-pack package, a 5% play, a 4% play, couple 3%. You're getting all 4 plays, including that 5%, for $39. And we do have to mention, we bust Prez's chops all the time on Wager Talk today. He does have a 5% in NHL for only $2. So check that out as well.
All I know is you brought up the Prez's name in a college basketball show, so that's $2 in the kitty for you, Ralph. You know the rules. There is no mention of the Prez on this show. So I do want to let you guys know it was a wonderful night last night. Congratulations, Ralph. Hit his best bet here on the show. Fading VMI. Wyoming, we also talked about on the show last night. That was a winner in round 2 against Air Force. So we're going to look to keep that going today with the 4 games. Let's take a quick look at last night and some of the top performances that we had in college basketball. UNC Greenboro, a friend there, I do believe somebody was on that game, Ralph. I can't remember who, but of course Jared Butler proving that he is just a man among boys there with that Baylor performance last night against Kansas. And LaSalle St. Joe's, we weren't sure what we were going to get there, Ralph, but we got a whole lot of scoring there in that game.
I'm going to use one of Dave's phrases that he always mentions about Washington. St. Joe sucks.
Well said, Ralph. Very well said. Well put. Yes, that is absolutely true. Some of the covers, too, from last night, some of the big covers that we had a chance to actually witness yesterday. Alcorn State taking the Arkansas Pine Bluff. That's got mid-major mad written all over it. Unless you had a 10% play on it, Ralph, because I think they're ranked number 432. Florida State taking care of Louisville last night. That was thought that was going to be a little more competitive. And that I don't know if you had a chance to see this game here, Tony. St. John's, Connecticut. It was an early start, just about when we were doing the show yesterday, but that opened up at 9 for Connecticut, and it just kept going down and down and down. So it certainly looks like the pros were all over St. John's in that game, and with good reason.
Yeah, I was on St. John's. I was on Florida State. And I was on Southern of Baton Rouge, and I couldn't watch that game. So it was Southern and Ralph's favorite team, Mississippi Valley State. And Southern was laying like 23, and they had the scores transposed on Southern's website. So it looked like Mississippi Valley State was up like 13 at the half. It ended up being like a 40-point game, but they had the score transposed throughout. And thank goodness for the Wager Talk live odds screen that had the right score, so I didn't have a heart attack.
Yeah,
Joe,
it's one of those
my best bet yesterday was on Team 272, Samford. I thought they should have been favored, actually, against Western Carolina in that game. They had a 45-25 lead at the half. They were a 2-point home dog. They led by 20 at home with the momentum. With 5 minutes to go, they were trailing by 3. They ended up coming back and a 20-point first half, and then they blow a 20-point lead and go down 3 points with 5 minutes to go. They ended up coming back and winning by 4. But you want to talk about watching a scoreboard and punching a wall, seeing a 20-point lead evaporate, it is ugly.
Well, I'll tell you what, you want to talk about watching a game like watching paint dry, all right? And speaking of paint, you could use a new coat there, Vino, all right? That backdrop of yours. Let's look at the biggest over-unders if we can for a second, guys. That UNLV New Mexico game, that was, if you had insomnia last night, I hope you flipped on that game because there was, Vino, I don't even know, but it was one of the last games of the night. I don't know if you had a chance to see it, Rob, but it was terrible. It went under by 39 points. I mean, it was awful watching New Mexico. I think they scored 17 points in the second half. That was a rough one, guys. I don't know if anybody even looked at that game. It was 11.5. Obviously, UNLV didn't cover, but that game was rough to watch there. My goodness. Ridiculous. No more New Mexico bets for me. Take a look, guys. We got it. Just want to remind you, of course, WagerTalk.com. The best bets are up right now. You can head over to WagerTalk.com. Take advantage of our $2 Tuesday handicappers, both at WagerTalk and Sports Memo. Ralph's got his 5% play up there right now, though, guys. My suggestion, head over to WagerTalk.com and grab it while you can. Let's start off in the Big Ten if we can here, guys. How about Purdue taking on Ohio State? They're on their way to Columbus, that being Purdue. Now, who trusts Purdue on the road? I don't know. Ohio State laying 4. Total opens up at 138. And as I'm looking here, I'm seeing some 5s on the board. I'm also seeing the number come down to 136. So, Tony Mejia, let me start with you, my friend. Purdue, Ohio State. Do you trust Purdue in this situation on the road?
I'm big on Ohio State here. They've beaten Northwestern in a revenge game, and they won't get Minnesota again unless the teams meet in the Big Ten tournament. But they have a chance to get even with the Boilermakers, who they lost the Big Ten opener in West Lafayette last month. And right now they're healthy. E.J. Liddell didn't play in that game. He's back. They got that guard, Michi Johnson, contributing off the bench, and the Harvard transfer, Seth Towns, just played his best game of the season, was a real X factor. Ohio State's 3-0 at home. So I really like the Buckeyes and their newly found depth wearing down Purdue. This is a Boilermaker squad that just beat Penn State, but they gave up, 23 offensive rebounds to a smaller team. If they do that against Ohio State, they'll get blown out of Columbus. They just shot 6 for 32 from three-point range, so it's not like they're a hot team. They've won some games, and certainly Matt Painter has done a nice job with a team that has a lot of weird parts. They got the 7'4" freshman, Zach Edey. They got another post player that they run their offense through. But as far as the Big Ten is concerned, a middle of the road team that's still going to get you in the NCAA tournament. But I favor Ohio State. Liddell's playing fantastic, and with him in the mix here, I really lean towards them. They're going to be one of my plays tonight.
Ralph, we've talked about it in the past. Chris Holtzman, he just doesn't seem to get enough credit, I think, on the bigger stage here with what he's been able to do with this Ohio State team. Certainly shorthanded in a lot of situations this year. Both teams 5-3 conference record. Big game for both here. Who do you trust more to get the job done?
Joe, you actually stole that sentence right out of my mouth, because you look at this Ohio State team. Liddell missed a couple games early. They didn't lose the beat. Yeah, they lost to Purdue. But the bigger loss was C.J. Walker. You have a point guard who starts your first 10 games. He's out. What do? You go to Rutgers, you win. You beat Northwestern and cover, and then you go to Illinois and beat them the last 3 games. I was looking to fade Ohio State after that Walker injury. Not anymore. Seth Towns, again, didn't play until mid-December. After that Purdue game was the first game he played. He's the big addition as well. And this team's they are so efficient on offense. They are remarkable. The only stat I have to look at when I'm Purdue is Purdue 3 times this year has shot under 36%. That's amazing. They shot 35% at home against Valpo. They shot 35%, and I don't mean to bring this up, Joe, 35% at Miami of Florida, with Miami of Florida minus 3 starters. And then they shoot 33.9% at Michigan State. Yeah, they played one good game at Indiana, shooting 53%, but there's no way I can back Purdue on the road. And again, I was actually looking to fade the Buckeyes at Rutgers and at Illinois. Thankfully, I did them, but Big Ten Coach of the Year in my mind, Chris Holtmann, no question.
Rob, listen, these two teams, last time they played, I think it was December 16th here. There's a revenge spot. Purdue, outside of the recent results, not great on the road, not a team that you can trust. So who are you looking to back in this game tonight?
I like Ohio State, Joe, for a lot of the reasons mentioned by both the other guys here. E.J. Liddell did not play in that first game between these two, but C.J. Walker did. Had 7 assists in that contest. They asked Justice Suing to take over the point guard position, and Saturday's results, it wasn't great as far as point guard numbers are concerned, right? 4 assists, 5 turnovers, but certainly he's done the job filling in here. I think the scheduling situation is another reason why I like Ohio State here. Purdue, because of some coronavirus postponements, had to play on Sunday. And now they'll play Tuesday. Generally speaking, the Big Ten doesn't make teams turn around this quickly, especially with travel. Although it's not huge travel, Penn State to Ohio State, it's still travel. But the bigger point here is that Matt Painter had a lot of complaints about this, that his team is placed in this situation because another team had coronavirus issues. So I don't know that they come right back here. My only question with Ohio State would be, can Chris Holtmann get them to bounce back off of that huge Illinois victory? You know, you got to get them down off of cloud nine real quick. They shot the ball tremendously in all aspects out to an early lead. Didn't coast the rest of the way, but held the lead the rest of the way. Can he pick them back up a couple of days later? I think yes. I like him as a coach. So for me, it would be Ohio State here minus the points.
I get the total dropping as well. You're looking at number 275 for the Boilermakers in adjusted tempo, 297 for Ohio State. So that total has come down a couple of points here. We'll keep an eye on that, but it's going to be a great matchup here tonight between Purdue and Ohio State. Let's go to the SEC. Let's take a look at Alabama taking on LSU in this one. The two top teams in the SEC. LSU laying 1.5 at least. That's what it opened up at. You got a total at 162.5. And Rob, let me come back to you on this one here. If it's one thing we can probably count on, there's going to be some tempo in this game. And any under is really never safe when we're talking about Alabama in this situation. How are you approaching this game?
Yeah, and real quick, Joe, I just want to backtrack because you made a point about the adjusted tempo in that Purdue-Ohio State game and the total coming down. It's interesting because they are slower teams. Ohio State, last 8 games, 6-1-1 to the over. Purdue, last 8 games, 6-1-1 to the over. Purdue, 4-2 to the over in their last 6. So although they're slow, they've been playing higher scoring games. Alabama, LSU, I think, right off the top, the separator between the two is on the defensive side, right? Alabama's a number 16 in defensive efficiency nationally. They've been good defensively in most every game so far this year. LSU only number 107. But I'm a guy who had LSU and South Carolina over 156 the other night and cashed the ticket, even with South Carolina missing a couple of key components, including head coach Frank Martin. LSU just manages to get these games up into high scoring range. They played 10 times, 4 times this season. Their games have landed over 164. It's quite different from Alabama, which has only found this number twice in 13 games. So you can see the defensive disparity there. My question would be, Alabama, the defensive numbers are great, but can you really handle 4 elite scorers? Nobody's been able to so far. Can you handle Watford? Can you handle Days, Thomas, Smart? It's just too many weapons that come at you. So I think this will develop into a track meet here. LSU certainly will give up their share. They've done it all season long. Alabama, I talked about, how can their defense rise to this occasion? They've played in their last 3 games. They played a couple of quick tempo teams. Right, Auburn had Sharif Cooper back for the first time. Alabama wins. They bury Arkansas by 31 points on Saturday. So Alabama's handled the challenges so far. I just wonder about this one, which gets me off the side and pushes me more towards the total. LSU has played 3 SEC teams that are extreme tempo, just like this Alabama team is. Against Georgia, they gave up 80 in regulation, 92 for the game. Total hit 160 after regulation, 186 after overtime. Played Arkansas, they gave up 76. The total went to 168. And like I say, Saturday, they give up 80 to South Carolina, 165 total. For me, if I had to play it, guys, it would be over the number. It's high. Yeah, Alabama hasn't seen it this year, but twice out of 13. But I just don't think they faced a foursome like this. These LSU guys are just too tough to defend.
It's crazy, Ralph. It keeps going up here. Rob's talking. I'm seeing 165s now, 164.5, 165s out there. Certainly a lot of money pouring in for a team in Alabama that held Arkansas to 6 of 26 in the first half. What they did to that team was criminal here. Can they repeat that against LSU?
Well, I'm not getting to the win on this. I want to always agree with everyone on the panel. I don't like the over here. I think this Alabama defense is freaking elite. You watch them play. They are incredible. They are 7-0 straight up their last 7 games, 6-1 against the spread. The only game they didn't cover was against their in-state rival that they won by 4, laying 4.5. In their last 7 games, nobody has reached 47%. 5 of those 7 opponents they held under 40%. 4 of those 7 opponents they held to under 34.5%. Yes, they push the pace. Yes, they shoot a lot of threes. So we have to look at LSU's three-point defense, which is very good, number 17 in the country. So if Alabama's going to struggle shooting those threes against a good 3 defense, with Alabama's defense, I like Bama, and I lean under.
Bama leaning under. How about it, Tony? Where you go? Are you in agreement here? That defense too tough to even look at a number at 165 right now.
No, I would lean the over. I think both teams probably get into the 80s. But, the key thing here, just a short history lesson. Last year, Alabama was rolling. They had a 4-game winning streak, and they took it to LSU, and LSU beat them. So, and then the Crimson Tide kind of fell apart the rest of the way, didn't win consecutive games. And then, obviously, the SEC tournament was canceled. So we never got to see how that turned out. But now they're 6-0 in SEC play. LSU's 5-1. LSU's a pretty good home team. And Alabama comes in banged up. Now, they've won a couple of games despite injuries, but they've got Javon Quinterly, the point guard, not 100%. He's got a knee issue. Herb Jones, their best player, all-around glue guy. He's dealing with a finger injury. And they will not have 6'10" Yale transfer Jordan Bruner, which he's really been a nice glue guy for them with his intelligence, with his size, and replacing him against a team that has 4 options, 2 of them that are severe matchup problems, makes me worry for Alabama. Alabama, obviously, number 1 in field goal percentage defense in the SEC. Rob mentioned they're top 20 in the country. But does that translate on the road against some elite offensive players? Cameron Thomas back from his ankle injury, and he looks fine. So, I mean, more than anything, this is an opportunity for LSU to be the LSU team that they expected to be. They kind of had some hiccups in non-conference play. They obviously don't play defense. They remind me of the Bucks and Nets last night, where they believe that they're going to beat you offensively. So why bother with the D? That could open up the door for Alabama if somebody has a hot shooting game. That's why I lean over, because I just don't think Alabama is going to be able to stop LSU on its home floor with so many guys not at 100%. And the fact that Nate Oates' team, yes, they've been elite defensively most of the season, but at heart, that's a team that wants to run as well. So my leans are LSU and the over.
LSU and the over, going to be a great matchup. That is for sure tonight, guys. Do want to remind you quick before we head to the ACC, taking on Duke and Pittsburgh. If you head over to WagerTalk.com right now, Ralph's got a 5% play up. Rob has got a 4% play up in college hoops tonight. And Tony's plays are ready, locked and loaded, ready to rock and roll in college hoops. All available to you right now at WagerTalk.com. Let's look at this Duke-Pitt game here tonight. Duke opens up as a 3-point favorite. Total hovering around that one at an open of 142.5, which is kind of what I'm seeing now. I do see some 4 and 4.5s out there in favor of Duke here. So, Tony Mejia, coming back to you, my friend. Duke, what can you say? This game was supposed to be played on December 29th, I believe. It was postponed for COVID issues. It's been a hell of a roller coaster for Duke here. Do you trust them in this spot taking on Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh?
I think I'm going to trust them in February, Joe. I really do. But right now I can't get there. And, we've broken down Duke games in the past. I was all over Virginia Tech over the Blue Devils because they had gotten back off their COVID break by struggling with Boston College and Wake Forest. And those are probably the 2 worst teams in the ACC. And Jalen Johnson got back for a cup of coffee against Virginia Tech, played probably about 1 or 2 minutes and sat back down. He's practiced all week. And that really takes some pressure off Matthew Hurt if he can come in and play his full complement of minutes. But Pittsburgh just got back Justin Champagnie, the leading scorer in the ACC before he went down. He was supposed to miss like 10 games. I was stunned when I saw him in the lineup because I played against him this weekend. Didn't expect him to play. I had Syracuse, and there he is in the lineup doing Justin Champagnie things. Like he looked like he hadn't missed a beat. So he only missed 2 games. He's in the mix. Xavier Johnson can score. At least Tony can score. And Duke, again, is going to bring Johnson into a full-time role. Will there be rust? Will their guards be able to shoot the ball well? That starting line, extremely low, which is super scary because obviously you want that Duke money. And now it's pushing it to 4, 4.5, 5. If it gets to 5, 5.5, I'm hopping in on Pittsburgh. Jeff Capel's done a really nice job with the Panthers. They're 3-1 in conference. They're
Uh-oh.
one of the biggest surprises can steal a result.
You were this close to me miming you. Just want you to know that, all right? Just that close to miming you. Ralph, let me ask you, the Jalen Johnson situation, is he being accounted enough for in this line? Too much? Where do you have these two teams right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think he is. I like Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh's played better down the stretch. Now, granted, you've only played Syracuse twice, and you were down both times at the half. So it's not like you played great, but you played awesome second halves. This Duke team's covered one game. They went to Notre Dame. And why Duke is 1-6 against the spread? The Ralph luck, I bet on Duke that one game against Notre Dame. So it's that Ralph jinx that they're lucky they won that one. But, you've got a team that has struggled. I thought they would look better against Virginia Tech. Tony said, no, they're not going to, and he was right. But, when I had this game circled and I handicapped the matchups, I like the Pitt side. I still like the Pick side. The thing that kept me off it was, you have one of the worst free throw shooting teams of all the Power 5 groups. They're number 308 in the country. So that does concern me for Pittsburgh in this game. But if this line keeps climbing, I think, they're the team that's going to be following, getting the late baskets if they're down, sending Duke to the line. So it was in my mix last night. I took it out this morning. But as this line keeps climbing, Pittsburgh may be back in the mix. Certainly a lean, maybe more than that in another hour or two.
Is it getting overvalued, Rob? Where are you at right now with this Duke team tonight taking on Pitt?
Well, I think Duke on the season, Joe, all you got to do is look at their records and you can immediately proclaim that they've been overrated, right? They're 5-3 straight up, but they're 1-7 against the spread. That's the definition of overvalued. And the line climbing here, I want to take a look at it from a little different perspective here, guys. I'll look at the total, which has also climbed, right? I think I saw before we came on, maybe 144.
Yep.
Game that opened around the 141 area. Pittsburgh's been involved in quite a few high possession games, 72 possessions or more in 4 of their last 6. Now, it doesn't necessarily show up in their final scores because the shooting hasn't been great. In 4 of those 6, the field goal percentage has been really bad. So you can't really take advantage of the totals when they're not shooting well. But the 3 games when they did shoot 46% or better, they scored 89, 70, and of course 96 on Saturday with Champagny back. I think his return is really big for Pittsburgh, and maybe that's part of the reason for the jump in the total here. 24-16, as Tony mentioned, he looked great against Syracuse the other day. But when you get your main threat back, it sort of puts the pecking order, it gets reestablished as far as scoring is concerned. And again, like Tony said, when you have Horton, Johnson, and Tony now can go back to their more comfortable, familiar roles scoring the basketball, I think that's big here. I'm going to go back to last Tuesday when we were on and we had Duke and Virginia Tech. And I remember coming on and saying that Mike Krzyzewski had a quote where he said at this point in time, the defense was ahead of the offense instinctively. And I kind of scratch my head because I look at their numbers and say, your defense stinks. How are they ahead of your offense at this point in time? And the defense runs out against Virginia Tech and gives up 50% shooting in the last game that they've played. So the defense really isn't all that good. Pittsburgh plays some high possession games, at least, low 70s for them as a high possession game. I think they can score here. And on the other side, Duke is number 27 nationally in offensive efficiency. So maybe points come for them here. Always like these student-teacher type of games. Jeff Capel against Coach K. Jeff Capel for Pitt, obviously going to want to win a game against his former head coach. I think this game, I liked it better at the lower price, obviously, but I still think it's got a shot to get over the number here.
All right, going to be climbing up there, 144, 144 and a half in a couple of places. So it is climbing, and that leads us to our final game of the night here, guys, with Seton Hall taking on Villanova, 9 o'clock Eastern time. What an interesting matchup this is. Villanova, we haven't seen them in about a month, I think, is the last time because of the COVID concerns that they've been dealing with. Their last game, they defeated Marquette. Villanova 8-2 in their last 10 against Seton Hall. Seton Hall's kind of got it rolling again here, Ralph. So the number 9.5. Welcome back, Villanova. Total 141 is what it opens up at. How do you have these two teams, and are you worried about maybe a little rust here for Nova?
Well, you have to worry about rust. December 23rd, pre-Christmas, was your last game. Now, the important thing to note is this. I think they had 3 COVID shutdowns. But they have been practicing since last Thursday and had a game canceled because I believe it was Xavier. So they've had a week of practice, which puts them in a much different role than some teams coming back from COVID because you've been able to practice 10 days, which is a huge plus. But, you know, I looked at this roster of this Villanova team. All 5 starters started all 9 games. They only have 3 backups. Cole, 21 minutes a game. Eric Dixon, 10 minutes a game. Brandon, 10 minutes a game. You have Davis questionable. And, you have Daniels questionable. And you have another player questionable. They don't have enough minutes on their bench if those 2 players don't play. Then you're talking about playing 5 guys tonight with 1 or 2 backups, and that's it. So, to me, there's only one way you can look, and that's to fade them. If you turn on this TV and you see that Khalib Davis isn't playing, it would be a play on me, no question. They just don't have the bench to go with it. And then, like I said, 3 backups, they total 10 minutes a game.
Dixon.
I have to totally fade Villanova, and that's it. So if I'm watching this game, I'm not going to go against them because they have practiced. But if I turn on the game and Khalid Daniels isn't playing, they just don't have enough guys to field this team and play the right way. I'm certainly on the dog.
Yeah, Dixon, Daniels, and Brian Anton, all probable listed right now for Villanova. And I'm not even going to attempt the guy's name on Seton Hall. That's why we have Tony Mejia on the show. So certainly a guy in the middle. A lot of people have been very high on here. It begins with an M. There's like 23 letters in it. I'll let you talk about the Seton Hall aspect of this there. Why we bring you on, Tony? Ralph and I got to clap it out, so we ain't going to get there. So who you got?
Well, look, I know my internet is on the fritz because I see it. So if you do mind me, you've got to say Sandro Mamakhelishvili at least 5 times.
Not happening.
All right. All right. So speaking of which, Sandro Mamakhelishvili averaged 18.5 points and 9 rebounds against Villanova last season. And they split their 2 matchups. He was 15 of 25 from the field. That's Sandro Mamakhelishvili, one of the top scorers in the Big East. Okay. So look, I think this is a situation, as Lee Corso likes to say, where it's closer than the experts think. 9.5, 10-point spread. Seton Hall probably keeps it a game. Hopefully doesn't foul too much down the stretch because I do think Villanova finds a way to right the ship. But it is almost 4 weeks between games. The last guy they cleared was key forward Jermaine Samuels. I do think Caleb Daniels and Eric Dixon are going to play, but Ralph's right, limited depth. So if one of those guys is a casualty, Villanova is going to have to overplay some other guys and hope for no foul trouble. Seton Hall obviously struggled at Creighton, so they haven't been great on the road, but they do have some wins. I just think they can hang in there. And again, Sandro Mamakhelishvili will be the key.
All right, so Rob,
hey, Joe, you know what that reminds me of, Joe?
What's
that?
It
reminds me of watching a Hawaii football game, and when the play-by-play announcer finally learns to say the name, he says it like 3 straight times. He made the tackle. Did you see him block that person? Did you see him go get water? He took an awesome sip of water. So, when you have it phonetically spelled out, you learn how to say it that first time, you are on it the rest of the show.
Fantastic there. Now, Rob, here's the deal. Number one, I think Seton Hall, the last 2 ranked teams they played, they got blown at it, right? So it has been a month, and I will buy the paint for your room if you can give me that guy's name the way that Tony Mejia just did. Go.
Well, as he spoke, I tried to break it down here with my pen into phonics. I think he said, the way I have it written down in 3 syllables here is Mala Kelishvili. It might be close, it might be wrong, but Mala Kelishvili. Was that right or wrong, Tony?
Come on, Mia.
Mamu Kelishvili.
Mamu Kelishvili. Very nice. I will never do that again, ever. Yes.
Mamu Kelishvili. So there you go. We figured that out. And of course, since I'm of Sicilian heritage, Joe, we are drawn to, darkly, dimly lit rooms. And that's why I sit here in this chair away from any windows so that nobody from the outside gets to me.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Seton Hall, Villanova. Seton Hall, 5-2 ATS on the road, on the Big East Road so far. Good numbers there. To the point about rust, since December 23rd, of course, you have to worry about some rust. And Ralph mentioned Villanova's been practicing since last Thursday. Jay Wright said the one thing he loves and that he'll remember the most about this team is their enthusiasm during the practice and the following days of practice. However, he also said that they only went for 90 minutes because they didn't want to get these guys' heart rates up too high for more than 20 minutes tops. So conditioning has to be somewhat of a factor. Ralph brought into play the short bench for Villanova. You combine that with conditioning. If guys are going to have to go 36 out of 40 minutes, it's a lot to ask against a Kevin Willard team that's going to come after you. So I think that could definitely be a problem. Seton Hall, not only 5-2 against the spread on the road, but 8-2 in their last 10, 3-1 under on the Big East Road. Here, 141, 140. I think you have the potential for both of these teams, guys, to show a little bit of rust because remember, Seton Hall hasn't played in 10 days. Last time we saw them was on the 9th. So there's potential for them to come out against a good Villanova defense. Again, we're talking about 2 of the best 4 defenses in that league and certainly 2 of the better defenses in the country. So the shooting could be off a little bit. I think when Coach Wright talks about enthusiasm after this type of layoff, for me, I apply that to the defensive side. I think that they'll be very enthusiastic on the defensive end. We'll see if shots fall. I'm going to say that they don't. I think there's a real potential for this shooting to be off. The only thing I worry about in this price range, -9, is late game free throws that maybe could send this thing over the number. Is Seton Hall down in that 5, 6, 7 point range where they have to consistently foul over the last 60 seconds and somehow it pushes it up and over the number. But I don't think it'll get that close. I like the under in this game.
All right, going with the under there. Stayed pretty strong there, too, hovering around that number. So, all right, guys, it is time for our best bets. And, of course, before we go around the horn here, we'll get what everyone is thinking about playing here tonight. We'll turn to our friends at the Gold Sheet, Ralph, who are taking a look here. Let me see if that's a Michigan. That's right, Michigan taking on Maryland here tonight. Looks like they're going to be backing Michigan for this game. And this is a bounce-back situation, Ralph. Not like I can't say I blame them for backing Michigan in this spot.
How many times are you going to say Michigan to a person that's an
because I can't pronounce the other guy's name. It began with an M. And
we say the team. We say the team up north or Michigan. You don't ever say the M, Joe. So Golchi played today. Had a nice winner yesterday. Tony, is this one of your plays?
Michigan Maryland is one of my plays, yes.
All right.
Then you take it away and give us a quick Golchi play today. Yes. I will post it on my Twitter at CalSportsLV. But Tony, in 3 sentences, without saying Sandro Mumumalavlashki, tell us why.
How about Eli Brooks? I'll use Eli Brooks.
There you go.
Michigan top defender. He was out against Minnesota. He's back. That's a huge deal. The Wolverines have beaten teams by an average margin of 17.3 points at Chrysler Arena. That includes a 25-point blowout of Minnesota that they just lost to, and the 23-point blowout of Wisconsin that I got dead wrong. So I didn't bet against Michigan against Minnesota, and I did that first game because I like the Gophers. So they taught me a lesson. And at home, certainly going to go with Michigan over Maryland. Eric Ayala will be back to the Terps, though.
They're like playing a drinking game. Every time we say Michigan, take a drink. So Michigan is the Gold Sheet play today. Michigan at Maryland. So, well, did you get that, Ralph? It's Michigan. Write that down right there. Michigan, Maryland tonight, the Gold Sheet play today. Ralph, I know it's not Michigan, so what's your best bet of the night if it's not Michigan?
I am really confusing people because it's South Carolina. So, yeah. What the hell am I doing using a top 100 team?
That's ridiculous.
What the hell's gotten into me? Well, it's really because this was in my mix to be a client play, one of my top-rated plays. But, there was just I like the way South Carolina's playing, and, but they didn't have their coach last game. Martin wasn't there against LSU. He did come back, but he didn't coach the schemes for this game because his assistant was working with the teams. And you just don't have enough continuity for me. They've only played 4 games. They played LSU the 16th. That was their first game in 10 days. So while I like South Carolina and the points, and I think they could win this game outright, just not having played and not having the continuity is the reason they're my best bet here on the show and not one of my top actual client plays for the day.
All right, going with South Carolina there. Rob Vino, my friend, talk to us. Where are you going tonight? Best bet.
Yeah, so since last night, it was brought to social media's attention that I didn't make the 60-second buzzer. I've already given my best bet out, so I don't have to talk about it. Seton Hall, Villanova, under 140 is where I'll go. And I'll use the rest of my time trying to pronounce Mamu Kelishvili, so I get it right tonight when this game stays under the total. Mamu Kelishvili. Got it right, Tom?
It was very nice. That was very nice. Rob was referring to the shot clock on the NBA tip-off show, but don't worry. I had your back there. I had your back. Talk to me there, Tony Mejia. Where are you going here tonight if it's not Michigan?
I'm going to the SEC, where hopefully Florida doesn't bite me again. I had the Gators losing to Ole Miss last week, and they had a huge comeback down the stretch. Colin Castleton blocked like 7 or 8 shots, and they were able to come back. Give me Tennessee, though, in this game. I think John Fulkerson will challenge Castleton in the middle. The Gators are again without Scotty Lewis. Third game he'll be missing in a row due to COVID protocols. So they could have really used him against Victor Bailey. I think the Vols and this line has moved from 5.5. I got it at 6.5. It's now 7. I think Tennessee wins by 9+. So give me the Volunteers to make a statement on the road in Gainesville.
Not a train.
Hey, Joe, before we get to your best bets, I have one question to ask.
Sure.
Because I always think this in my head. Rob and Tony both. When you're handicapping, how many times does a team have to burn you before you're freaking done with them? 2 or 3, where you say, okay, I went against this team twice. They beat me twice. Do you go against them a 3rd time in a row? Or after twice in a row, do you wait a period of time? I don't have the balls to go for 3 straight. Do either of you guys?
Now, I'll go first here, Ralph, because during our best damn college football show this season, I had that Arkansas State team over the total 2 weeks in a row, and then came on the show the next week and said, I'm done. And you and Drew almost in unison said, everybody out there, play Arkansas State over right now because Rob's done. And you know what? They did go over a couple times after that. So it took me banging my head against the brick wall. I think it was 2 weeks in a row.
2. What about it, Tony? Where are you going? 2? Is that the cutoff? Oh, I'm miming them. Yes.
If they've cashed for you in the past, eventually that goes into your realm of thinking. So just depends on how good the cash was.
All right.
He's looking to play Florida next time again already. I know that's why he said that.
Exactly. You know it's coming, too, if they get blown out in here. I'm going to go egg bowl on the hard part. Give me Mississippi State laying 2 in here. 2 teams in 2 totally different forms right now. So I'm going to go Mississippi State, lay the 2 at home, taking on Mississippi. Once again, recap here, guys. Ralph Michaels going South Carolina, taking the points. Seton Hall, Villanova, under for Rob Vino, and he did that, of course, under 60 seconds, which we thank him for. Tony Mejia going Tennessee. Lay the number. I'm going to go Mississippi State, laying that small number of 2 in the gold sheets. Tony Mejia is going Michigan, laying that number 2 at 10.5. And a reminder, guys, Rob Vino got a 4% play up right now. You've got Tony Mejia locked and loaded with his college basketball selections, NBA selections, everything up right now at Wager Talk. And Ralph has got a 5% play up in college hoops tonight. Head over to WagerTalk.com, guys. Get those plays right now. Make it a profitable Tuesday. Make sure you hit that bell in the upper right-hand corner as well. Subscribe. Make sure you're following these guys, and make sure you come back and join us again tomorrow for another edition of the College Basketball Tip-Off Show. Tony Mejia, Rob Dino, Ralph Michaels, thank you very much, guys. Best of luck with your plays tonight, and just about 15 minutes, we'll be back with the NBA Tip-Off Show. Good luck, guys. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.
Right now, you can lock in 30 days of